Three, two, one. Welcome to Pillow Talk Confessions. I'm your host, Belladonna.
And I'm Mr. Bob, the Zebra King.
And today we are going to talk about a very exciting topic for me. Why is sex so stigmatized?
Dun, dun, dun.
I gave three, basic reasons that kind of fit in, as you guys will hear. But religious beliefs, social influence, and government regulation. And I chose these three based off of how they impact us. So, Missy Bod, hearing those three, do you think they kind of fit and cover the basis of why sex is stigmatized?
Yes, for the most part, yes. I feel like those are the three everyday reasons you would hear out of most people.
Mm-hmm. So, we're going to talk about religious beliefs first. And this is something that we both share in common. We have religious backgrounds. Myself, I come from a Catholic household, and I also come up in a Baptist household. I say that because I came from parents who were divorced. So when I was with my dad, I attended Christian churches or Baptists. And when I was with my mom, I attended Catholic churches, which they're also Christian, but they're two separate types of Christians. So for me growing up, sex was supposed to be sacred, and it was supposed to be something only husbands and wives did. It wasn't, really taught in the Bible that, prostitution was something that, it was frowned on and sinned upon. But in other cultures, there's something known as sacred prostitution. Even far back as ancient Middle Eastern cultures, they have a word called kadesha, and it's spelled Qedesha. And those were women who were basically prostitutes for the purposes of, sacred worship.
I swear I knew a girl named that. And if that's the case, I really hope she wasn't named after that. But let us continue.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but you never know where names come from. These women were known to be attributed to the goddess of fertility, Astarte, and that's pronounced or spelled Astarte. So, they were closely associated with her.
Okay.
So you see, the reason I chose religious beliefs as an impact was because as a world religion that is recognized, Christianity, even though there are many sects, has an influence on how we think and believe. So if we're being told sex outside of marriage is a sin, it automatically puts the notion that we can only do this as a sacred act. Now, you have a different religious background. Would you mind sharing that with our listeners and viewers?
Well, for the viewers and listeners, I grew up in a kind of a little different because it was, for the most part, it was Christian. On my mom's side, it was Baptist. On my father's side, they were never married. So it was I'll see my dad, my father's side of the family, maybe birthdays, Christmases, and the holidays back when I did celebrate them and whatnot. But I would go from being Baptist to Lutheran or a non-denominational till I was about 12. And then, it just strictly became, all right, I prefer to be Baptist. But nowadays, as in the last, since 2018, I've I'm now, Hebrew Israelite. And yes, sex is sacred. Even more once you get into Hebrew Israelite, not even really supposed to know a woman until you're married. You're not
Mm,
supposed to, if you want to be with a woman and get to know her, you have to court this woman before you
mm.
get married. Once you get married, that's when you get busy, whatnot. But
So when you say the word no, you mean in a
mhm.
sexual sense, not just, oh, I know
Oh,
her
no, no,
name.
no. Oh, no, in biblical tense. That way,
Ah,
that's how we dress it up. But
mhm.
basically, yeah, in the sexual tense.
Okay, because our viewers are grown, okay? And our listeners are definitely grown too. So I just want to make sure we all on the same page with it all.
All right.
So, if you think about the influence, Lord, this thing just gonna keep on crawling, but we gonna keep it
Look, it
moving.
can't handle the
If you
tea. It
think
can't
about
handle the tea.
if you think about our cultural influence, when in terms of our religious beliefs, which help shape our mind, it's definitely one of the reasons sex outside of marriage is stigmatized. So that's when we go into the area of sex work. So if people who are sex workers for a living, they're naturally looked down on because they're engaging with sex outside of partners, or they may not even have partners. So people are judging them based off of that, not knowing them whatsoever, or knowing that most of the time sex workers practice safe sex. Sometimes sex work doesn't even include sex. And we'll get into that in our next two episodes, because we will be talking to
Yeah.
two sex workers. We will be talking to Miss Mova, who has a podcast. Shout out to Mova's Playhouse. And then we're going to be talking to Miss Tommy. And we will definitely have a good one with that one. So y'all might want to stay tuned to those episodes. They will be coming up right after these two. So, but to get back into that, that will shift us into what I say is social influence. So let's bring it into back back in the day. Um, Before there was a thing called race, there was something
Mhm.
called a caste system. So based off of what you did for a living, had a direct result of how people viewed you. And this is where social influence comes into play. So, with that being said, those around us and who would be in our peer group as far as age is concerned, if you got the better job or you make the most money nowadays, you may be seen as somebody who has it together. That might not necessarily be the case, but that's the mindset that we have based off of social influence, based off of what the media tells us, based off of what we see on social media, what we see in the news, what we watch in movies. That often plays a role on how we do things. And why sex is glamorized and used to sell things like products,
Everything.
like cars, what does sex have to do with cars? Why is there a pretty model?
Wait, have you not seen Class Act? Okay, so make it real short. There's a scene where Play, who's trying to be Kid's character and everything, he's explaining his dissertation to his teacher, and
Mm.
it's about sex, but he describes everything he knows about his car, and she says, "What does this have to do with sex?" And he says, "Well, think about it, Teach. Where does most sex happen?"
Well, I mean, it's subliminal, but this is the type of thing that I'm saying. So, people, when men see that, they want that finer car because they want to attract the woman. They want to, take, and women naturally want to get the man with the car because they think he might have some money. So it's a status symbol. Again, going back to social influence. However, on the opposite end of the spectrum, to go back to, the caste system, prostitutes and other sex workers are often seen in society like lepers. Like, we enjoy what they do because we like porn. We like the Instagram models who have OnlyFans. We'll support them. But if asked, what we think about their profession, oftentimes you'll hear people say things like, oh, well, I don't really, I wouldn't do that myself. That's for her. That's, we look down and we're judging them. But that's because it's a profession that is known in social circles as the nasty or negative thing. But at the same time, everybody on this earth would not be here unless somebody had sex. So, and I'm not stopping having sex anytime soon. I might be celibate from time to time if I'm not in a relationship, but while I'm there, it's going down. Okay? So why are we looking down on somebody who was smart enough to say, hey, I like this, let me make money off of it. I like showing my body and not having to touch another soul. Let me get paid off of that. When you strip away the religious and social influence, that's what it boils down to. Why are we really judging them?
Because we can't beat them?
Just some food for thought. You know what I'm saying? Now, you actually know Miss Tommy.
Yes.
And
you're such a sweetheart.
Tell us a little bit about her, on a personal level.
On a personal level, the way I honestly got connected with her, I was depressed, and honestly, she my depression buddy. We just did a lot of talking. It was literally didn't really have anything to do with sex work. She was there for me, kind of like a counselor. She was there for me emotionally, not like as in a sexual way whatsoever. It was platonic. She was a really good friend, and honestly, like I'm super thankful for her. Like that she was just there to hear me out, to let me vent, and then after a while, like she would just come check up on me every now and then. Just, hey, how are you doing? Da, 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 da. Really? Okay, well, cool. Like, wow, I'm glad you reached out of nowhere. Like I was kind of on the verge of having a bad day, but that took my mind off of it. Thank you. And for the most part, yeah, she's a normal gal and she's really bubbly. But yeah, she just happens to be a sex worker who really loves her job.
And to me, if you're doing something that you love, then you're going to want to do it and show up every day. And I feel like that's how I feel about this podcast and the work as an intimacy coach. So I kind of fall in line with sex work, but in a different aspect where I focus more on similarly what she's doing, which is the, getting to understand and connect with you on an intimacy level and help you to recognize that, and know your intimate side. So I naturally see a lot of sex workers that we've talked to, and there's a running theme. And that running theme is sometimes it's not about the sex, it's about the connection, it's about the communication. And I ran into somebody the other day and they basically said intimacy is communication.
It is, because as a man who doesn't necessarily, not just a man, a person who doesn't necessarily like being touched by everyone, I will mess around and as a human forget to have like physical touch and not know that my body is physically like starved for that type of connection with someone. And it'd be something like I get hit in my, well, I think I just, because I have back problems though too. Like I get hit in the back by a child and it feels incredible. Not that, not even in a sexual way. It's just that it blows my mind because I ain't been touched. Go. Everybody, listen to me. If you have somebody you can get a hug from in life, go get a hug. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's actually good for the body. there's science behind it. I'm not gonna get behind it because that's really just gonna get me like derailing, and that's what I am, a derailer. But we're not gonna do that right now. But yes, physical touch is communication.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it is important. It is a form of communication along with verbal, which is definitely needed, especially in times like now when we're dealing with social distancing. That verbal communication still needs to be there because once we are able to be in each other's physical presence, we will definitely have more of a awesome connection because we were able to sustain it. I call it delayed pleasure. I'm the master of it. I will, withhold physical activity for the sake of that buildup of the, oh, what are you gonna do to me? I want to know. I want you to tell me. I want you to, so that way I'm already in that mind state. So by the time it's going down, and I know what we gonna do. I know what we came here for. But that's for another pillow. Okay. So y'all stay tuned for that because that's coming up too. But to get back on topic, we've talked about social influence and how the social media kind of plays up on it. And right now,
Definitely.
I've noticed that they're trying to really crack down on sex workers as it relates to how we operate on social media. Like they're not letting you say link in the bio anymore. They don't really.
Yeah, that's weird. They're like, whoa, whoa, whoa. How did link in the bio become a strictly a sex worker topic, like a strictly a sex worker thing?
And it
You know, we
affects.
say link in the bio.
Okay, it affects me because I am also a an e-commerce owner, and I sell lingerie, sleepwear, and bath and body products and aromatherapy, and I can't say link in the bio now. Like I gotta, do all
But
kind
yeah,
of
look,
emojis and
now we gotta say link in the description.
link in link in the link up at the top, or I don't know what we're gonna have to say in terms, but I found that to be very interesting because it is a way for a private owned company to regulate what it is we do and control what it is we have to say. I'm not going down the conspiracy rabbit hole because that's not what we're here to do. But if you
I
want to
mean, I got
find
a
out.
foil hat, but that don't mean I believe in the conspiracy. I am just one who loves stories. So yeah.
Well, I'm not going down that rabbit hole because we don't have the time. But it's just really funny to me how social media does play tricks on our self-esteem. It exploits, it influences our purchasing decisions because soon as you log on, you see an ad for something that, based off of your likes and dislikes, it'll show you.
Yeah, this
And
is a suggestion for you, just for you.
yes, and the other day I actually went off on my following because it's a largely male following, and I had to let them know, hey, you may see a little cleavage because I'm a female and I like showing off my femininity. And I'm top heavy and I like showing them off, but I am not a sex worker. So please stop talking to me as if you would demean me. Not to say that sex workers should be demeaned either, because they are still women at the end of the day. Again, it goes back to our profession should not dictate how you treat us.
Question: do you believe we should, as a society, somewhere in high school, teach people how to talk to sex workers? Like not as in, oh, this is how you get one. No, this is how you conduct yourself should you find yourself in this industry or with these people.
I mean, this goes back to our religious beliefs. If we really rest on the principles of the Catholic and or Christian faith, let's just do it in broad. Jesus said, treat people the way you want to be treated, right? So if that is the belief that is held by Christians and
This
a
is why we
majority
persecute everyone.
and the majority of us are Christians, and it is not our place to judge, and it is not our place to, look down upon, because people will then in turn do that. But that's a spiritual concept, which we're not dealing with either today. But to get back to the point, you do not need to treat someone in a nasty way just because of their profession, especially sex workers. Because if it wasn't for sex workers, I tell you, there will be a lot more killers. There will be a lot more negativity in the world. There is a place for everyone in this world. Let me say that again for the people in the back. There is a place for everyone in this world. And you just got to get in where you fit in.
Shout out to the sociopathic people that I used to kick it with. I'm glad that, that some of y'all are still around and hanging out, and I'm thankful that y'all are supporting me. I hope y'all doing good, and that some of y'all kids is doing good. I know y'all got issues out there, but the world keeps on moving, and I'm glad y'all still hanging in there. Look! They're a part of this world too. You don't know, you wouldn't even know some of the ones that you hang out with. You might have a few of them in your own everyday life that you don't know about. You probably got 2 or 3 of them in your family that you always upset about, but don't really acknowledge it. It happens. They exist. They become president.
I'm pretty sure. So now let's get on to our last one. Which is government regulation. And how this comes into play is politics. When we tend to, in this country, because I will only speak on American politics and American government, because that's where we are. And this should hit close to home for some people. When it comes to pro-life or pro-choice, if some people don't understand the difference between the two, one is pro-abortion and one is against. So basically, I say this as a foundation for, they use programs like Planned Parenthood and promoting safe sex in one hand, but then creating laws that regulate sex work, that make it illegal to be a prostitute or a dominatrix or an escort. So now people in those realms have to operate differently. And in an upcoming episode, we're going to be talking to someone who basically explains to us or breaks it down that even though it's legal to do OnlyFans, it's still like, if the government can't catch us, then the social media is trying to stop it. Yeah, because they want their coin.
They want their money.
But you can't advertise on that platform and have an ad run to try to get more money, because they say that they don't want to promote the sale of sex. But the thing about it is, if they're taking pictures, how is that promoting the sale of sex? It's just a picture. So make your stuff make sense, which is, I'm a little expert at this because I've dealt with having to rebrand my business because I didn't want to deal with the hassle where I was trying to sell adult accessories, bedroom accessories. If you those who don't know, toys. And if you put that word together with, SEX, you'll get the whole thing. But because I'm not going to say that on this platform. However, fill in the gaps, connect the dots, whatever you want to call it.
Propane and propane accessories. We're in Texas.
So I was a full adult store. So then I had to rebrand China Secret into a lingerie store because one, lingerie was selling faster than sex toys anyway. And plus, it just, progressed. And where we are now is we're an intimacy store because not only do we sell lingerie and sex toys, oh, excuse me, not sex toys. I just said I wasn't going to say it. Oops.
I wasn't gonna correct you or nothing. I was just gonna keep rolling, let you know when we get off.
Yes, not only do we sell lingerie and sleepwear, sleepwear was the S word. My brain had a little
I
problem.
told you propane and propane accessories. They heard you the first time. If not, they can press one.
And we're now going into doing aromatherapy and bath and body products. So it was a rebrand to call it an intimacy store. Basically, when you come to my store, you get everything but the little goodies to have a good time if you need it, whatever. Or just for women to get back to themselves because we're a store catered to women. And get in touch with themselves and practice self-care and self-love. Okay. But I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was a little animated today, okay? It was a good
It's
day.
okay. You're excited. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
But going back to, it's like the checks and balances. So you're telling us in one hand, yes, go have sex, be fruitful. We just don't want you to multiply too much. But at the same time, hey, if you try to make a living off of this, we're
You
gonna
give
stop.
us the money and you don't talk about it. You
Mhm.
just do it. Don't talk about it though.
So to me, it's like that was why I chose government regulation because they censor a lot of things. They whether we realize it or not. So it's a very fine line that people have to walk when they choose the professions that they choose. Especially when it comes to sex work, because you're really skating on that fine line of committing a crime.
Apparently.
If it's funny how if it's recorded, and it's considered a porn, it is legal. But if it's not recorded and you perform the act and you get paid for it still, it's prostitution. So you see why I'm using doing air quotes for our viewers, for our listeners. Yes, I'm doing air quotes. So I just find it to be really funny.
It's the swimsuit and underwear and panties situation for me. Yeah, that's many to many things. I think like a swimsuit is pretty much bra and panty set, but we look at it like, no, she's clothed. She's wearing a swimsuit. Okay, all right. I'm not gonna argue it. It looks nice. Yes, I said yeah, it does look nice. I like flowers.
Well, the material has changed. So we went from lace to I don't know what that stretchy material swimsuits are made out of. That's not my
I,
realm. Not
was, I almost messed up and said cottonelle, but that's toilet paper, isn't it?
I'm done with
Yeah,
you.
toilet paper. Yeah.
I am not with you today.
I haven't eaten enough just yet. Okay, I got yeah. So when we done, I'm gonna have to finish something. Yeah, eat something.
We gonna wrap this up very shortly. God, you are giving me content to edit. I swear. I get when I'm editing these because this part is getting edited out of the final cut. I definitely love to make sure that certain things are left out. I don't take out everything, but our little side banter that isn't relevant to the message, I do take that out. So but
Yeah, have fun.
at least people get to see the behind the scenes with the YouTube, you know, castings, and they get to see the raw and uncut because I'm not editing. a darn thing. So you see this double chin, you see all of Donna's realness. The girls, yes, let me give it to you. Let me give it to you.
I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there that really that's all they've been on your Instagram waiting for is you to say that.
Oh, another story for another day. But let's go back
No.
to what we'll be making the official podcast. So
Yes.
I wanted to like bring this on home because I think we covered some very good gems. And the message I want to leave with people is be an open-minded person. Think for yourself. Um, if you believe that the message of treat people the way you want to be treated is important, do not judge somebody based off of the work that they do because it is not your place. And when it comes to sex, everybody is having sex that is of age that wants to have sex. So it is up to us to mind our business and, tend to our own bedrooms and not everybody else's. Maybe if you were doing a little bit more of that, you'd be a little bit more happier. Because if you mind in other people's business, you can't be too happy. I'll just say it like that. If I hurt somebody's feelings, oh well. Um, Now where we can step in and where we can speak out is when people are having sex against their will, aka rape. That's when we should speak out. That's when we should make it our business. And that's when we should condemn. Let's start judging people based off of their actions and not based off of the work that they do because the two are not mutually exclusive.
Agreed.
Because some sex workers are some of the hardest working people I know. They are their own photographer. They are their own set designer. They are their own makeup artist. They are their own producer. They wear multiple hats. So until you step into that arena and you are holding that down, you can't judge. Mind your business and worry about how to get on their level and get your coin in the field that you're in. Master your field, master your craft. So that's the message I want people to take away. And I wanted to start this episode off because I want that mindset to be there for these next two episodes. And this is going to set the tone for the season because we are diving into some very serious topics. So, was there anything you wanted to say, Mr. Zebra King?
I know that we are still all animals on the inside, and science will always have us out there competing against one another for the greatest sex of our lives. We don't always got to hold one another back. There might not be enough, for everybody to get some, but we ain't got to hold everybody back. That's all I'm saying. Y'all be
Okay.
safe. Y'all have fun. Once again, y'all be safe. I love you, lady.
And last but not least, I want to say, please continue to vibe with the tribe and slide on
Indeed.
over into our Facebook group. It is called Pillow Talk Confessions. We post daily content, in between the content for the podcast. So it is always about intimacy, dating, and relationships. But we do also talk about adulting sometimes because you have a relationship with your job, and sometimes that
Yeah.
relationship ain't the best. So it's a place to vent and chill with like-minded people. We are LBGTQIA friendly. We are advocates. I'm a proud member myself of that community. I would consider myself to be pansexual, but that's for a later episode, to explain that. But right now, we'll just leave it at that. So I think that about wraps it up. Don't forget to vibe with the tribe. Make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe. Today, we just want to know, what do you think about sex being stigmatized? Do you have any other reasons it may be stigmatized? Please drop them down in the comments on our YouTube page, and we will catch you all next time.
Peace.
Love you later.